My name's Shane Jenkins. I've been working with HeroX for about 3 years now, supporting this project from the back end. For anyone who competed or was on the Discord, you probably saw me sending messages at like 2 a.m. or something like that. But that's just my role with the company, and I really want to give the spotlight to the rest of these folks here. So, Alex, can I pass to you for a quick introduction?
Yeah,
sure.
I can hop on.
Oh, sorry.
I'll take it. Yeah, I'm Alex. I am a human performance engineer here at NASA Johnson Space Center here in Houston, Texas. I'm the Apache project lead. So Apache is the VR XR environment that we use to simulate a lot of planetary EVAs, so spacewalks. So we do a lot of spacewalks on the moon and Mars in our VR environment. And yeah, that's actually where a lot of these submissions are going to be ending up, is into our VR simulations and doing a lot of our research that we do with various planetary spacewalks. So glad to meet you all.
Awesome, thank you. And Jeff?
Yeah, my name is Jeff Summers. I'm also here at Johnson Space Center, here at NASA, and I am the spacesuit physiology and performance lead out of the Mars campaign office at NASA. And so Apache and the content that we're going to talk about today really feeds into our bigger picture look at enabling EVAs, spacewalks on Mars when we get there. So.
Great, thank you. And we'll go to our first team, Team Spacelux. Sophia, how about you give an introduction?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Sofia Coloma Chacon, the captain of the SpaceLux team. About me, I'm an engineer and I'm doing the postdoc at the University of Luxembourg. I work with robots oriented for planetary robotics, improving the navigation and control of the rovers using artificial intelligence and extended reality. The rest of the group also works at the University of Luxembourg in the Space Robotic Group, led by Miguel Olivares, who is also a member of this team. But also for the challenge, the contribution of the other members was really important. For example, Alex, who is here, and the other members who also help us with the challenge. So I wanted to mention the great contribution of Dave, Loic, Ernest, and Daphne.
Wonderful. And yes, Alex number 2. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here. Yeah, Sophia said, I also work at the Space Robotics Research Group at the University of Luxembourg. I graduated from the University of Luxembourg with my master's degree in the interdisciplinary space master. And during my studies, I specialized in bringing extended reality applications into space robotics.
Whoops, I was muted. How about we move to Team Overheat with Omar?
Hi, I'm Omar Hill from Barcelona, Overheat team. Currently, I'm working as R+D engineer in CATWAP in the drone industry and developing some tools like AeroVR, that it's the development tool that allows the drone flyers to use a virtual environment to perform drone operations.
Great, thank you. And your teammate, Paul?
Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Estorlese. I'm studying informatics engineering here in Barcelona in the UPC. And I'm also working at InLabFIP, a company that is associated to the university. And there I'm doing research about virtual reality. I'm actually, my bachelor thesis is treating anorexia using virtual and augmented reality. And this is the thing I'm working on now.
That's fascinating. Thank you, Paul. All right, and Natalia from your own team.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Natalia Savchenko. I'm an XR designer and have a 22 years experience in design. Right now, I'm originally from Ukraine, but now 7 years I live in Poland and work at EPAM system company as the lead immersive experience designer. In our company, we have a huge immersive experience expertise, and me and Konstantin Voluisky are leading AR/VR competency center. So that's why we are here. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of experience. Thank you. And Konstantin, how about you close us up?
Yeah, thanks. I'm Konstantin Waluski. So I'm in North Carolina, East Coast. I'm in the US for 1 year. So I'm about like 3 years of XR design experience. And previously I was a game designer. So super like excited about this all XR thing and the AR VR. So we are doing projects with Natalia in our like normal time, regular time, and the extra time as in the extra mile activities. So
That's
that's
wonderful.
it.
Well, thank you guys for devoting your time to this project. I know for all of you, it's probably something you did in addition to your other work. So thank you for that. Hopefully, though, it's for something that you can understand and believe in, which is actually what I'm going to talk about next. So transitioning gears here, Alex, I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit about what was the mission of this challenge in the first place. I feel like these teams latched on to what they saw as what they were contributing towards. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that? And then I've got one more question after.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so we started this Apache project a couple years ago, I think about 3 years ago, and we've kind of it was very successful, I guess you could say. So everyone kind of wanted a little piece of the simulations that we were developing, and we just didn't have the personnel or the man hours to really make all these the EVA and XR content that we needed to do some of the research that we wanted to do. So we thought, how can we interact with the crowd and the public to sort of help us develop some of these spacewalk activities that they might do on the moon or Mars. So we had the ideas, we just didn't quite have the man hours, and our team has grown since, but this challenge has also really helped fill in a big hole there of trying to get us just a lot of content that we can use in our XR environment so we can actually do the research and collect all the data that we want to. So that's really what these are, is providing a lot of just the content for us to actually do in our research environment. So I think that hopefully answers it, but
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And I don't know if this is for a good follow-up or not, but for those who don't know, what is sort of the long vision for what the impact of Apache would be? It's as far as I understand it, to help people train for potential actual missions in the future, right?
yeah, one of like a long-term goal. So right now we don't actually do any training with any of the Artemis crew yet, but we're trying to get that as one of our things because, like I said, there's been a lot of interest just in general with XR, and we think there's a lot of use cases with our VR environments to help train the actual Artemis astronauts. But so some of the things that we're actually doing right now, I don't know if you guys have heard, but actually at Johnson Space Center, there's a like a Mars mission, sort of where we put 4 people in a 3D printed habitat, and they're living sort of like on the surface of Mars. So they're going to be living in this habitat for a year long. And during this process, they're going to go out on a lot of spacewalks. And as part of those spacewalks, they'll put on the VR headsets, they'll get on their treadmills, and then they'll go on their spacewalks virtually. So a lot of our content and our efforts sort of help support these sort of Martian-focused research operations. So really trying to figure out kind of how can a crew sort of operate on a planet that's like it's going to be like 20 minutes communication delay. So you can't have Houston down here actually helping him step through all the steps. So you need this crew to be autonomous and act independently. So that's really where a lot of our research is focusing on, is how can we sort of best enable the crew to act autonomously and act on Mars without the support of real-time support here in Houston on Earth. So sorry, roundabout way of going about it, but yeah, there is some Artemis. Hopefully we can get that in the pipeline, but right now it's probably more Martian focused and some of the more futuristic concepts right now.
That's fascinating. Thank you so much. And yeah, that answers exactly what I was wondering. I think one further question along those lines before I hand it over to our team to tell us about their submissions is there any sense of where this is going to go next? I know that the challenge developed a pretty organic community on Discord, that there was some goal for this project to spur on other people to create more assets and develop further ideas. Is there any hope for that in the future too?
Yeah, so right now we're still kind of trying to figure out what are the next steps. So right now we are going to we'll push all of the winning submissions to that Epic marketplace. So you can see all of the other submissions that the other participants created. So we'll upload those to the Epic Marketplace. You can all pull those as an update in a future update. In terms of future challenges, we're thinking of actually carrying this forward to like the Unreal marketplace. I'm drawing a blank on the new marketplace that they're developing, but we would put the Exos project there, and then we can actually have sort of groups submit plugins, different content as they see fit. And then you'll also be able to see that it'll be more of an open source sort of forum rather than you're kind of just creating your own content, submitting it as part of a challenge. We're going to try to create a more collaborative community by being able to upload and pull different submissions from this marketplace. But we'll also keep the Discord running as well. So right now there's no formal challenge going for next year, but we are going to try to come up with maybe some more specific content that could be created. So instead of just a broad, hey, we're looking for Martian space tasks, we could say, all right, maybe we're looking for this particular tool. You know, maybe we need a tool to do some trenching activities to like dig out a hole in the ground, or and we can maybe try to sort of like better define, I guess, the creative and design space that way, because we do realize it's kind of very open with these first two challenges, but I think future iterations of this will be more focused onto like a specific either tool or a scenario, and then we can kind of work with the crowd there. But let me actually find the marketplace that we're going to push to. So give me a second.
Yeah, that would actually be so fascinating. I know that that's a long-term vision for this, but for all those competitors who are listening to this call, and maybe you had a submission that didn't win in this challenge, or maybe, excuse me, you had more that you just didn't finish in time, that might give you a chance to actually go and still contribute that anyways. That labor won't be lost. You can still put that effort towards this mission. So definitely keep that in mind and keep an eye out for when you can submit your assets later. It looks like we've got almost 40 people in the chat now. I would definitely say, or definitely want to hear where you guys are coming from. Oh, there it is. Alex has shared the link in the chat there. If you guys are curious.
Yeah, I just put it there. So, and this is, I'm actually a little too, this is new to me, but our game studio that we partner with, this is where they'll actually be pushing a lot of the content to, is this new Fab, the Unreal kind of marketplace. So, that is where we're going to sort of be moving the challenge to, but we still have to kind of figure out the logistics of that. So we will be using the Discord for any kind of updates along that, though.
That's perfect. Thanks, Alex. Well, with that, why don't we get transitioned over to presentation here? And yeah, shout out us. Tell us where you're listening from. Tell us what your favorite submission was, if you got to vote on some of them, and I'll get this pulled up. Okay, there we are. So yeah, here we are in the webinar as before, or as I've already mentioned before. If I advance the slide here, once it gets working, we've got Team SpaceLux, Overheat, and Natalia Savchenko's team to go through. Let's start with Team SpaceLux. Sophia, can I pass it to you?
Yes. So we are the SpaceLux team that has developed and gone with the immersive EVA simulation. And in this net, can you pass the slide, please? So we are 7 people on the team with different skills, and each member has played a crucial role in the challenge. Here I present the photos and name of each member, where you can see me, Sophia, but also you can meet Alex, Dave, Luis, Miguel, Ernest, and love names from different nationalities. And something that this team has in common is that we love space, and we work with robots and advanced technologies on a daily basis. Please, next slide. So as this team are already involved in the space sector and exploring extended reality solutions for robots, we were motivated to enroll on this interesting and fun challenge to explore how we can use virtual reality for future space missions and help astronauts. So this motivation started with the first phase, the storyboarding, where we submitted an emergency storyboard, and our proposal was selected. So this fact motivates us to transform this scenario to virtual reality with Unreal Engine for the second phase. But nonetheless, I have to say that it was a challenge for us because we had not experience with Unreal Engine, but we were excited to learn and make possible these interesting submissions. And so for more detail of the second phase, I will hand it over to Alex now.
Yeah, thanks. So following our win during the first phase, we were motivated to bring to life our emergency scenario during the second phase. So what's worth mentioning here is that the MarsXR engine already provided us with a vast amount of assets and different functionalities, but we went ahead and expanded it by creating 3 new assets: an oxygen tank for refilling the astronauts' oxygen capacity, a repair patch for treating and stopping leaks on the astronaut suits, and also a med kit that can be used to store medical supplies. We also added some custom voice lines to alert the player, and several metrics that show how well they perform each task in the scenario. Then combining everything together allowed us to play out our storyboard, which is essentially a time-constrained rescue scenario where one astronaut suffers a leak from their spacesuit, and you, the player, has to find the leak, patch it, and refill the oxygen levels of the astronaut. And important to say is that despite not having prior experience and facing several challenges, we were very eager to learn and expand our knowledge, and most importantly, also have fun while doing so. So on the next slide, we have a small demo of the scenario playing out in the engine. Maybe you can pull that up. Yeah. Perfect. So the scenario starts by the player getting an alert
Oxygen leak detected.
that a leak has been detected. In that
Oxygen
case,
level
they need
warning.
to identify which astronaut is suffering from a leak. And once they do, they have to check the astronaut for any leaks that they might have. Once they find the leak, which is shown here with some oxygen spraying out from the suit, you have to go ahead and pick up the repair patch, which will then be used to basically patch the leak. So they move over towards the astronaut, who, by the way, is falling down because they're losing oxygen, so they might feel a bit dizzy. So it's very critical to patch the leak very fast. Once they've placed the leak, perhaps they can do some further checks to see whether the astronaut is doing okay or not. And at the same time, they can also grab the medkit box, which can be used to store various supplies in the future, and bring it over to the astronaut and perform any other necessary treatment. Fun fact, to implement this box, we reused the storage box that was already provided by the engine, and then just reskinned the textures to fit our medkit box. Once the leak has been patched, then we can go ahead and pick up the oxygen tank and move over to the astronaut, where we will go ahead and attach the tank nozzle to the astronaut suit, as shown here. Yep. And once the nozzle is connected, well, basically the hose, we can go ahead and basically turn on the valve by pressing on the top of the oxygen tank. And that will gradually increase the oxygen levels of the astronaut that was suffering from the leak. And once the oxygen levels are fully refilled, we can go ahead and remove the nozzle from the suit, or the connector basically, and that will signify a mission success. While they're performing these tasks, we also have some metrics
Mission
that show
accomplished.
what their accuracy is while connecting the nozzle or putting the patch. But in case of the player not realizing fast enough that the oxygen is depleting at higher rate, and if they don't
Mission
patch
failed.
the leak very fast, that can cause mission failure because the oxygen that's on the ground has lost all of their oxygen. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much, and yeah, we're open to any questions you might have later.
Oops, I was muted. I was going to say that's great. Thank you all. Let me get the slideshow moving again. We'll move on to our next team. But that's right. Don't forget the Q&A buttons at the bottom of your Zoom window. And you're welcome to submit those questions for the end. We'll come back to them. Thank you, Team SpaceLux. All right. Now over to Team Overheat. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. We're Team Overheat, and it's a pleasure to be here tonight with you all. We're gonna do a little introduction about the team, but as we have already done it, we will explain a little bit how we got to know this challenge, and then we'll do an overview about the different submissions that we have submitted for this challenge. Could you pass to the next slide, please? Our team is composed by only 2 people. We're actually cousins. How it all started, it was like about 2 years ago, more or less, when we wanted to do some project together. And we couldn't decide actually what to do until one day, when looking at Google News, we saw this challenge sponsored there. And we got interested, and as we are both into VR development, we said, okay, let's give it a try. And this is where we ended up. As we mentioned before, my cousin Omar is an R+D engineer at CatWaf and actually doing the VR for drones. And I'm working at InLab FIB doing the VR solutions for the anorexia treatment. And now for the challenge, if you could pass to the next slide. We had many ideas about the different submissions that we wanted to do, but we had really limited time. So we had to reduce our scope and get to stay with the most interesting ideas and also the ones that were feasible to do in this short time. So we will present you the 3 main ideas that we have developed. The first one is the maintenance mission. This mission has a set of tasks all surrounding the maintenance of the habitat. The idea is to have an habitat running smoothly, so it needs to be checked periodically. We had here split the mission in 3 different tasks. The first one is changing the air filters. We had placed an air filter box that had some filters inside. However, one of them was dirty. So the astronaut has to search which one is dirty and replace it for a new one. The second task is about repairing the rover. The user has to check visually for the rover if it has any faults. We mark the faults by using the sparks here that you can see on the picture on the right. So once the astronaut found the wheel that was malfunctioning, he could replace it for a new one. And the third task is about cleaning the solar panels. The idea is that they got dirty for only being exposed to all the dust storms. So the astronaut will go with an air gun, a pressurized air gun, to remove the dust that is incrusted in the different parts of the panel. And now I'll hand it over to Omar.
Thank you. Let's see the vehicle rescue mission. We saw that the vehicle blueprint is not working well, and because the time limit, we can fix it. So we use the virtual effect that the fade in and fade out transitions when you jump in the vehicle, and create some teleporters to move in between the areas of the mission. The objective is quite simple. You need to go to the location of the broken vehicle and use the hook to grab it and take it back to the main base. Once in the base, you need to remove the broken wheel, as you are seeing in the image, and replace it for a new one. Once the new wheel is in its position and done and well screwed, a pop-up with the mission statistics will appear, showing the performance of the mission. Next slide, please. Finally, let's see the human rescue mission. We don't believe in the rescue mission is a mission. It's more like an event that could happen while astronauts are exploring or performing another mission. So we developed this as a mini game that can be played in a loop by pressing a button that resets everything. We focus on the on the time. It's an operation that needs to be done quickly. And also the main problem that could happen is the oxygen drain from the AVA suite. For that, we create 3 different assets. The first one is you are seeing here, that is this dummy with the drains. These drains, each iteration of the loop are selected randomly, and in 1, 2, 3 different holes can appear. Also, we have oxygen bar that it's very lower, and if the oxygen goes to 0, the result is a failure. The second asset is some patches that are used to fix these drains, these oxygen drains. And the last one is an oxygen tank that is used to refill the oxygen once the holes are patched, and also can be used to refill your own oxygen. Once you've done the rescue, a pop-up with the statistics appear and display the performance of the mission. Next slide, please. That's all. Thanks for your attention.
Absolutely, and a big round of applause to you too, Team Overheat. I don't know if anyone in the chat wants to join me, but let's thank them for all their efforts. And last but definitely not least, we have Natalia's team. Do you want to go ahead and take it away?
Thank you, Shane. Please go next slide. So let me tell you a short story how a team of UX, UI designers, AR, VR professionals, and simulation SME applied for and won NASA challenge. Next slide. As I already mentioned in our introduction, me and Konstantin Valuisky are leading AR VR Competency Center in EPAM. And Alexander Grodnik, who is PM and simulation SME, came to us because he has a big experience in AR VR trainings for different domains, such as healthcare, energy, and logistics. And he found your challenge and asked us to bring this idea to life. So of course we agreed. Please, next slide. But we need some people to work on this project. And for the first meetings, 23 people expressed interest in participating in the project. But in the end, we formed a core team of 6 colleagues, each of whom brought brilliant results. Ruslana Lebedeva made a huge research, and she brought the idea for a comic book. Mikita Sherba created the cool illustrations. Olga Anapeva put them into a comic book, and Konstantin advised the team as a game and XR designer. And go to the next slide, and Konstantin, stage is yours.
Yeah, hi, thank you. So first of all, I'd like to say that it was a project which we emotionally loved a lot, because it's something of some very interesting field for us. So what our colleagues started to do first, they started to watch movies like The Martian, and educate themselves how geologists doing the work even on Earth. So they really kicked my interest and ignited. And because I joined a bit later, so they did a lot of research, as you see on this slide, about how the geologist work is going on. Could you please switch to the next one? And the idea was that let's do, it was our first participation, our first project with HeroX, and we decided on a pretty simple scenario, but what we were focused for the first phase is that let's keep it as simple and straightforward as it could be, because NASA missions, we know that this entire complexity is so overwhelming and so many things can go wrong. So we tried to make it a bit of more fun. So that's why we selected this style for the mission. But on the background, there was so many research by Alexander, who is a subject matter expert at, and our colleagues who researched so many materials for that. Could you switch to the next one? And yeah, so we decided to go with the very same scenario. It's about collecting a rock core sample. Sounds like a pretty simple thing, and but not on not on Mars. Could you switch to the next one? And yeah, I think even to the next one. The idea is that for the second phase, we were going to find a lot more resource. Could you please switch to the next? It means because the actual development required, and thanks for having this XOS as editor, because without having all these assets in place, we won't be able to create our scenario. And I'd like to mention that we created a number of new 3D assets. We tried to check what you guys had before, because you run it for a couple of years already. So we tried to find what you don't have, so to like make your library wider and more versatile and nice. So we also, David helped with that. We also like invited developers in Unity, and they liked the editor a lot, and in a very short time we were able to create this kind of scenario, which we designed as a storyboard. And could you please switch to the next one, and maybe even turn on the video? So I'll explain a bit about the scenario itself.
Yes. Did you say, is there a video you'd like?
If you have the video prepared.
Oh yes.
If not, I can go. Yeah. So
just a moment.
Yeah, we understood that to bring to bring more value to this project, it should differ
Welcome
from
to the mining scenario.
Other teams. And could you please decrease the volume?
Please take a tablet from the table to start the mission.
So the trade-off was either we create a super simulator, like things about how exactly you will be doing things, or we will create a scenario which is a like educational training way, and we try to keep the balance. And the idea is that in this scenario you need to like follow your steps precisely. What is the order of things, and like through repetitive action people may learn, and like to not forget things, the order of things, like. And each time you need to verify with your laptop that you confirm that you took the right parts. Then you confirm that you're like when you follow the steps which is required. So now you need to find the sensor. There is a picture. So go ahead and find the sensor. So when you find the rock sample, you are going to take the sample. And each time you confirm, because as you said, it's not always like real-time operation possible. So that's why you rely on these instructions in your tablet. So after that, you have certain steps of things to do before collecting the sample. So like clean up the rock, then go again, take another tool. Like, what are you gonna do? So you should stick to scenario. If you do not stick to the scenario, then it will decrease your score. So following the right steps is what we like to brought to the to this entire project. So you collect the sample. Now you need to put it in the box, of course. So put all the items in the trolley. So the trolley is kind of a inventory system which you guys already had in like as a pockets of an astronaut. But this time we tried to brought another inventory, which is like movable trolley. So you can put more things into it and probably like drag it with you. So and don't forget to take the sensor which left by your like previous astronaut who like marked this point for collection. So finally return to base and cut your score, like expected time. And so maybe it's not that detailed and not that specific, but it's a kind of a training engine we would like to develop further, and you guys to reuse this kind of approach. Thank you very much.
That's wonderful. Thank you, team. Please join me in giving them a bit of applause too. I was just thinking that trolley you mentioned at the end is so versatile that we can get that added to the editor. I'm sure that anyone else can take some of these assets and repurpose them for their own projects, their own missions. So for those of you watching, hopefully you're either taking some ideas or imagining how you can already improve these a little further. There's some love in the chat. Thanks, guys. Okay, beyond that, we're going to open it up here for a little bit of Q&A. So please feel free to submit your questions there if you have them. And I'll just make one quick plug if I can, that if you go to the HeroX MarsXR webpage and scroll down, there is a link to join that Discord channel still right above this prizes section. We'll still be active there, or at least the NASA team certainly will be. And so we'd encourage you to join that for future announcements and updates when after this HeroX challenge page starts to become archived. This will also be accessible, but it just won't be as active as the Discord will be in the future. I have one more little surprise to share at the end, but why don't we try some questions first? So it looks like, I can't tell if you replied to this in the chat or not, but someone had asked Team SpaceLooks, what was the process you experienced from the start of your idea to the finished product? I don't know if you want to speak to that. It's a bit general, but go for it.
Yeah, I can take that over if that's fine. So
Sure.
when we were thinking about submitting an idea, we wanted to try and go a bit away from maintenance and tasks that involve using tools and whatnot. So we tried creating an emergency scenario because you're on Mars and you want to make sure that the astronauts are safe. And if there's a disaster, you need to be able to train for that and be able to tackle any challenging situation that might cause problems to the astronauts' safety. So that's why we went ahead with the emergency scenario where you have to patch a suit leak, because that would be quite devastating for the astronauts on the surface of Mars should they suffer a leak. So once we had the storyboard down, then we started learning a little bit how to use Unreal Engine. Like we said, it was the first time we ever used it. But some of us already had some experience with Unity. So transitioning over from one game engine to the other was a bit challenging, but not too difficult, to be honest. And then once we had the storyboard and we were able to learn a little bit how Unreal Engine works, we started making more of a logic, adding a logic into our storyboard that could be then translated into engine logic. So we created the assets that we needed, and then we also created basically a list of tasks that the player has to complete. And then fidgeting a little bit around with the functionalities, we were able to reach our final idea. That's the high-level process that we followed, pretty much.
That's great, thanks, Alex. That probably does answer a lot of questions around that. I guess a follow-up I could ask for both Jeff and other Alex is, how do you guys determine what's valuable in the subject matter for these submissions? Like, we spent a lot of time in design, kind of telling people where they should focus their attention. How do you guys choose that?
Yeah, I think, well, the biggest one for us was really just like the usability. We didn't have that much time to really go through all the submissions. Like, we could only spend a certain amount of time on each submission. So it kind of had to work sort of like right out of the box. And there were some that we kind of had to finagle a little bit to get them to work as they were demonstrated in the video. But really the ones that just kind of like worked right away were very intuitive too, like the interactions and all that. You didn't really have to like think about what you're doing. Those were some of the better ones. But and then in terms of the actual like design, like how to design some of this, I really liked, I forget, I think it was Omar who said it, but how it wasn't really more of like a task. It was kind of like an event, particularly with the suit leak. Those were really cool because you can really just like flash these events whenever you want throughout the spacewalk, throughout the simulation. So we could use that spacesuit leak pretty much throughout the entire, wherever we wanted. It wasn't just like one task where we had to put it, you had to put it in the storyline and you had to fit the timeline a specific way. You could just put this, and then it was also a good stressor too. So there's some kind of emergency. So you had to think off of what the normal procedures were and go to sort of pivot to this emergency scenario. And that's really what we are focusing on in our group is really trying to enable like safe operations of our crew. And so when we go through these emergency scenarios, which is really what we try to focus on in like the high stress, high cognitive demand environments. So I think some of those in terms of the concepts, the ones that are really kind of cognitively demanding, that really make you think, or are really stressful, those are, I guess, higher value in terms of our mind. But that's just because that's how we use the simulations. So.
Yeah, I'll just throw in there to add on to what Alex was saying. I think mission relevance and how realistic it is to what we would expect crew members to do on the surface of Mars is probably one of our top things for using these, so that we can use it for research into understanding how the human is going to behave on the surface of Mars, and also eventually for training, as we talked about earlier.
That's super insightful. Thank you both. Yeah, well, I think what was really a good design choice about this challenge is that with the storyboard section in phase one, it allowed any team to really join in and try their hand at directing people into these areas of value that you mentioned. What's funny though is that we didn't necessarily expect all of the people who submitted in phase one to also submit in phase two, but here we have 3 of our winners who kind of won in both of those. So kudos to all of you guys for having a small idea, getting a little bit of encouragement, and then going for it. So hopefully you felt that was a good design for you too.
And for learning Unreal, that's really good to just pick it up and to do it in the short time that you guys did. It's kudos for just all the teams for doing it in like a 2-3 month turnaround. Yeah, good job.
Well said. Let's see. Maybe a follow-up question for another team can be for Natalia or Constantine. How did you guys manage such a large team, given that you seem to have, it looks like, maybe some of the most competitors of any team? What was that process like of just finding the talent and then also getting everyone to work on the same thing in such a short time span?
Would you like to answer?
Okay. We have such large team because all our teammates were assigned for other projects, so it was our extra mile and overtime. We work only on the evenings, on the nights, and some people has a vacation. And the big challenge that we faced out is that we don't have Unreal developers because all of them are busy, and that's why I just call in the company's chats, guys, to please help who would like to join. And thanks for we have a team of Unreal software testing engineers, and they have some knowledge about how Unreal engines work, so they joined us to develop in Unreal, and even .NET developer joined to us, and even one technology director from our company who has Unreal development as like a hobby. So we it was really difficult for us also that all team members were in 9 countries. From Poland, Germany, USA, Turkey, even Malta, Serbia, Armenia, Uzbekistan, and we have to collaborate. Not every day we sync it, maybe each second day, because only I have HTC Vive for testing. My morning in the July was started not from the cup of coffee, but my journey to the Mars. And after maybe 1 week spent there, for me, Mars became like my motherland. I know every stone there, so it was really fun. Sometimes when developers create a build, we have some bugs, and one day I spawned on the Mars, I standed, but I spawned on the Mars in horizontal position. It's a very terrible feeling, to have such experience. Yeah. So that's how we work.
Yeah, just a company. We had a B daily or something like that calls. So yeah, it's a big plus that Natalia said that even testers can do Unreal using the editor. So the editor is definitely like a game changer here. So it's so easy to create scenarios. So you guys did a great job with your partner who created this. That's maybe the thing which allowed us even to create this one, because it's so easy to kick off, start.
Great, thanks for the vote of confidence there. And that's a really impressive. That many countries, that's what I thought, but I wasn't entirely sure. So the fact that you guys pulled that together is really impressive. I guess one more follow-up question for Team Overheat here is, you guys are one of the few, if not the only, competitors to have won in both last year's challenge and then this year's. I think there are some people who did compete in both, but you guys have now been at the top of both. And I just wanted to ask you guys, what do you hope to do after this? Do you hope to keep making more assets and just contributing to the goals of the project? Have you learned anything you'd like to share from this whole experience?
Yeah, we really enjoyed this experience. It was amazing. I have to say, the first time we put on the VR glasses and were inside Mars, it was a really great experience. So yeah, we think that we will continue expanding the different assets that can be available in this simulation. But yeah, we really enjoyed everything, and I myself have learned much more from Unreal these two years. I before entering this challenge, I knew Unity a lot, but I had only touched the surface of Unreal. So entering this challenge, the first year was the full introduction to Unreal, and then the second year I could really enjoy it more, the working on it. I don't know if you want to add something else, Omar.
Well, that's really fun. I'm working with Unreal. It started like 5 years ago. I didn't remember such a long time. And I taught my cousin Unreal, and I taught him well. It's really fun. Also, being on Mars surface, it's it's impressive. And all the assets we develop follow the codec structure to make it usable for whatever thing, and it's quite simple to use it. So I hope all of you want to do something, you can grab our assets and have fun.
That's great.
And I want to add to that thing. If the submissions end up in the marketplace, we would appreciate that the documentation gets included, because we have detailed instructions of how to use these assets, like not only in the in-game, but also how to prepare them to work properly. So if any developer wants to add on that, I think it might be really useful.
Yeah, I want to add on to that. That was, I guess, one of the other things we really liked about Team Overheat is their documentation. Because even if one of it worked out of the box, but even if it didn't, they had really great, it's like almost 50-page PDF of a documentation of how they developed their blueprints, how the blueprints should work, how each asset should work, all the different inputs and functionalities. So that was really great for our team, because we can take that and really easily import it into our research very quickly. So I think that's one of the reasons we've liked Team Overheat, is because of their documentation, and we'll make sure to get that uploaded. Thank you for the suggestion. Yeah.
Thanks.
I guess following on. Oh yeah, go for it, Natalia.
I just want to say that for us, for our team, participation in this project and especially winning in it brought us respect and recognition, not only entire our company, but also outside it. We were interviewed on Ukrainian radio. We were interviewed in Polish media. We have participated in different conferences, tech talks, and events. So hopefully we will have the opportunity to participate in more challenge like this. So thank you guys for
That's awesome.
chance. Yeah.
Can I
Thanks a lot.
actually ask one more question to the group? So if we are, I think we're going to try to keep it more open source, and it's maybe more of like an annual challenge where we might put out a, hey, we're looking for this particular asset or this particular task, and if everyone wants to design that. But if there's anything from you guys that you thought was we could maybe do on the editor that we're putting out, personally, I think the project structure is a little disorganized, and we could kind of maybe clean that up or provide some documentation, because there's a lot of assets in there that can kind of be buried within the many folders on there. But if you guys have any suggestions on how we can clean up our project so it's a little bit easier to just grab and go from your guys' standpoint. But
Sounds good.
And join the Discord. That way you can always let us know.
Yeah, join the Discord.
Even if you can't tell us now. That's probably the best way to keep in touch. Great point though, Alex. I think the team would always be open to that kind of feedback. Similarly, if you want to message HeroX about anything you felt about how this particular challenge was run or organized, let us know. Even Florian in the chat has mentioned that, yeah, documentation would be really, really key for them too. Shout out to Florian. I know that his team did a really great job in this challenge too. Okay, I'm going to share one sort of surprise poll here. Let's see. There we go. Okay, has that shared now? I just wanted to give the audience one chance. Over here we go. Let's launch it. One chance to say if they would create a mission in a different location next, which one would they pick? This is just for fun, see what you guys want to say. But I personally am a big fan of The Expanse, so I'm a big Ganymede person here. But don't know if anyone else has watched that before. Pretty even overall, although the asteroid's picking up most. Now, maybe the NASA guys can answer this for me. If they did a large asteroid and, you know, used gravitational forces accurately, would it not just be possible to jump off the entire thing for like 3 hours?
Yeah, definitely depending on the size of the asteroid. You'd have to look into the orbital dynamics of that, but I bet you could maybe on a small enough asteroid, you could probably jump over it out of orbit. But
You definitely could jump yourself right off of the asteroid. Quite large to not be able to do that, I think.
Guess that's a dream of mine that'll never come true. That's too bad. Okay, that's really all we've got here. Any final thoughts from any of our team members? Any shout outs they'd like to make? Because I think we're going to wrap up here in a minute or two.
I want to shout out just our game studio that we partner with, Buendia. They're the ones who really kind of built up this whole engine that we were able to sort of open source to you guys. So I'll definitely check out. Let me try to plug them here, but Buendia, they are the small game studio that works with us, and they do a lot of great work for us. And hopefully we can now kind of expand it to an even open, more broader public like you guys in this sort of crowdsourcing challenge. But this has been really cool to interact with all you guys and to see so many international partners too. It's really cool.
Yeah, shout out to Julian, absolutely, and their whole team. Similarly with Epic Games, thank you for your support in all this too. Thanks guys in the chat for saying congrats there. Anything else from our winning teams?
Yeah, I would like to add something. So I'd like to really thank the developers of the engine, because we didn't really know Unreal Engine before this challenge. It was really our first time developing with it. And the way the functionalities were built and all the logic behind the different assets they had and how you can interact with them really gave us the needed stepping stones for us to be able to take that and adjust it to our scenario. And that was really a huge help, because without it, we probably would have been quite lost, to be honest. So huge thanks to that. It was really easy to use and really friendly for beginners. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks, Alex. I think that's about it then. I see Constantine, you come off mute. One
I
last
just want
thought?
to say thanks, everyone. Yeah, that
Okay.
was such a good opportunity. Yeah, so that was fun. So we enjoyed a lot. Thank you all.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was nice to finally meet you all. Thank you so much for putting your time into this challenge, and thank you to all the people who participated. Oh, my final thing I forgot to share is
one more
that.
thing too.
Oh, good. We'll do it after. I'll let you get in there for the final word, Alex. But I'm going to put in the chat here that NASA has another challenge that's live right now if anyone's still interested. This one is also very accessible to people of all kinds of backgrounds, not just coders. So if you'd like to help maybe change the future of flight in the world, go ahead and check that challenge out. But Alex, close us up.
Yeah, this is just a fun tidbit because I think it was Natalia who mentioned it when she just puts on the headset and now she feels like she knows every rock on the surface of Mars there. I have that same experience too, and I think it's just cool because we have the Perseverance rover that's like currently on the surface of Mars, and that Ingenuity drone, the helicopter that's flying around currently right now on Mars. They're actually exploring the exact same area that we have the editor that we've put out. So all of that terrain, it's based off of actual Martian orbiter data. So really what you're seeing, all the same rocks and all that, it was very similar to what the Perseverance rover and what our current like robotics are exploring right now. So that's just like a really cool moment I've always had when I can just put it on and be like, yep, okay, I know that picture that the rover just sent back to Earth. I know where he's looking at. I know that cliff. It's pretty surreal. So that's all I had to add though.
I think that's a perfect end to this. Just it's hard to believe we have the technology that can bring us there where we're at in our own homes. That's crazy. All right. Well, hey, everyone have a great day. And this recording will be shared to the challenge page later. So you guys can share it with your communities as well. Just keep an eye out for an update on the HeroX page. All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye all. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. See you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.